welcome to the Urban Sewing Society, where we bring fashion and creativity to your neighborhood. My name is Jen and I'm the Urban Sewist. And Happy New Year! Welcome to 2021. We made it, you made it, and I'm so glad you made it over to my channel. If this is your first time visiting, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and click on that bell so that you can get an update every time I release a new video. I am really looking forward to some great upcycles this year. I'm also looking forward to taking you thrifting and giving you some sewing tutorials throughout the year. I think you're really going to enjoy it. I'm really fond of this next upcycle that I created. If you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, I reached out to my followers and I gave them a selection of 4 or 5 projects that I had seen on Pinterest and some other kind of fashion pages. And I asked my followers, hey, which one of these would you like to see me upcycle? And A ended up being a resounding winner. And I was really excited about it because I low-key really wanted to do this one anyway. So that's the one that won. And I ended up creating this great white, crisp, stylish shirt out of a men's shirt and a women's shirt. And I actually have the men's tuxedo shirt that I use for the sleeves. I have it right here. And I have it left over because my plan is to create something from this leftover shirt. But one of the things that I wanted to share with you that I didn't talk extensively about in the tutorial was about how I cut the shirt initially. And one of the things that I wish I had done differently, so I'm telling you this in case you decide to try this tutorial on your own, this is the leftover fabric from where I cut the sleeve off and cut right into the top of the shirt. And my only regret is not cutting this a little deeper because the shirt was an oversized woman's shirt, so it was already pretty big in the first place. So when I cut this off, the shoulder kind of came down. The shoulder seam was kind of off of my shoulder, and so I really didn't cut enough of the shirt off initially. So you'll see in the video where I go in and I cut it a little bit deeper. So my recommendation is, if you do this and you try this on your own, to cut a little bit deeper in here and then sew the bias tape on. That's one thing that I wanted to share with you before you watch the video so that you can be prepared for that. And I am planning to create another one of these shirts. I have these 2 shirts that I think are going to come together really nicely. This one is a Ralph Lauren kind of lavender color shirt, and I'm going to use this one for the sleeves. And then this one has a really cool design in it, and I'm going to use this one for the main shirt. Both of these are men's shirts, so it's going to get a little interesting when I pull them together. This is a custom-made shirt. It's actually got someone's name in it. I thrifted it several weeks ago, and I'm really excited about remaking this shirt. I think the shirt turned out really well, and so I'm really excited about it. And I will be posting this on Instagram in the coming week. Be sure to follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, because that's where I will post these finished products. So I hope you enjoy the tutorial. Let's get started. All right, so the first thing you want to do is try these shirts on. So this was an oversized men's tuxedo shirt. And what's distinctive about it is the pleats in the front and the sleeves, which are extra long when you extend the cuffs for the cufflinks. And I knew I wanted to use the full length of the cuffs, so that was perfect. The rest of the shirt I didn't need. Second shirt is a women's shirt, but it was about 3 sizes too big for me. So the sleeves were long. The body of it was pretty wide, but it had these really cool pockets, and I wanted to keep the pockets, but there was really no way to keep the pockets. So I took the shirt, turned it inside out, and then I began to pin it in place. I started pinning under the arms and then down the sides. And if you don't have a dress form, you can do this right on your body. Then I took some pins and I started to create the shape of the shirt. I knew that I wanted it to fit like a sleeveless shirt and then just be able to attach the sleeves afterwards. So I used some pins on the front just to create that curve. I also created the darts I realized that I had to remove that pocket, so the darts from the front, the back, and then I turned the shirt right side out and tried it on just to see how it would fit. And so far, so good. I'm pretty pleased with it. Next step was to lay it out on the table and use my new pen, chalk pen. I forget what the name of it is, but I will put it in the description. And this worked absolutely perfect because I was able to take the chalk and mark all of my darts, mark my seams, mark where I needed to take it in, mark the lines where I was going to cut the sleeves off. Everything I was able to mark. I didn't hem this shirt because the length was perfect. It was oversized just enough, but it gave me the length that I needed and wanted. So I used my yellow chalk all the way around on all the places where I pinned on each side so that I would know where to start and stop sewing. And this pen I highly recommend. It works really well, and the chalk just brushes right off. It doesn't stain your fabric or anything like that. I love it. So that's what I used here, and you just want to make sure you mark all of the places where you put your pins. Okay, so the next step is to start to cut. So since I'd marked everywhere that I was supposed to cut, I started cutting just along the outside of the lines, trying to leave some additional fabric. I realized that I really should have cut right on the marking because I ended up having to go back in and cut the top portion of that shirt just a little bit more. The more you cut it, the better it's going to look when it's folded in. And you'll see here I started to pin it, and I should have cut at least another 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch off. In the end, it turned out okay, but I would just recommend cutting a little bit more. So then I went back in with my chalk pencil and I marked in some other areas that I had missed. Just went back in, remarked those areas, and then went behind those markings and cut. I did fold the shirt in half and match up the right side with the left to make sure that they were even, and sadly enough I did have to remove those pockets. I thought about putting them in later, but I really wanted to get this done, and I know I'm not going to put my hands in the pockets, so cut them off on both sides, cut up the arm, and cut the other sleeve off as well. So once that was done, I was pretty much ready to get started with my bias tape. Just let you see the next few steps here and how I evened it off and made sure that both sides were equal. That's really important because you don't want to have a lopsided shirt. Once that was done, I laid everything back out, checked it, make sure that it was all even, made sure my darts were even in the back, made sure that both sides were equal, and then I took it to the sewing machine and stitched it up. This next step, I'm going to show you how I cut the sleeve off of the tuxedo shirt. This was the larger of two shirts, and the sleeve was nice and full, so I didn't need to add any extra fabric. I initially cut the sleeve just above the seam, but it was too much fabric in there, so I cut an additional inch off. This is the part that you're not going to see. I apologize, I don't have a video of the entire process, but you can see here where I cut the sleeve just outside of the seam, but I ended up cutting about another inch off and then adding bias tape on the inside of the sleeve to finish it off, and it made for a really nice clean finish. All right, well, here we go. First fitting, and it fits pretty snug, but as you can see right at the top of the shirt, there's that kind of bulk bulkiness in there, so I needed to put some darts in the bust area, and I needed to take in just about an inch on both sides to make sure that the fit was perfect. But I will tell you that even after I did this, I still needed to at least cut off another ½ inch right in this area, because in order for the shirt to keep the style as the original photo, you have to have a little bit more of an opening right there. So I ended up cutting it more, but overall the fit was great. Next, I wanted to see what it was going to look like with these sleeves. So these are the sleeves that I just cut off the shirt, and I ended up using the sleeves to make the belt. It was a perfect matchup. I sewed both sleeves together and tied them in the back, and then these are the sleeves from the tuxedo shirt. I slid those onto my arm to see how full they would be, and I was just amazed how everything came together so well. But as you can see, the top part of that sleeve is overlapping, and it just starts to look like a regular shirt. So that's why I had to go back in and cut a little bit more in the armpit area. But I wanted to put both sleeves on just to see and get a sense of what it would look like. And I was loving it, loving it, loving it. Okay, so on to the next step. The first thing you want to do is an overlock stitch around the opening because you want a clean finish. And then I created bias tape from some of the leftover fabric. I will talk about how to make bias tape in a later video down the line when we do some more sewing videos. But anyway, folded the bias tape, pressed it, and then began to pin it to the inside of the sleeve and stitch all the way around. What I wanted was a nice clean finish, a nice facing, so that if I wanted to wear this shirt without the sleeves, the inside of the sleeve would look nice and professional. So I stitched around the inside, and I also did an edge stitch, and then after that pressed it down really nice and smooth. And these are the buttonholes that are at the top of the sleeve, and this is the button that I sewed right under the collar, and this is where the buttonhole attaches to the button. And then this is the buttons, these are the buttons on the sleeves. In place of cufflinks, I just used a button on each side of the sleeve cuff. Here I'm creating the waistband for the belt or the tie that goes along the waist, and I used the sleeves that I had cut off of the main base shirt. It was just enough fabric to go around my waist. If you find yourself needing additional fabric, you can use some leftover fabric from the other shirt that you're using. You may choose to use a regular belt. I just wanted to make the entire shirt out of both shirts, so I trimmed everything up to be really even. I opened the sleeves up, I sewed a seam down the middle, flipped it over, and stitched it on both sides to lay it down nice and flat. And I still have the cuffs from the sleeves at the end of it, and it was okay with me, I didn't mind. And here's the final look of the shirt. I'm so happy with how it came out. I can't wait to make another one. I had to give you guys a quick little fashion show just to see how it lays. I really like this fabric. The main shirt was from Joan Rivers' designer collection. Who knew she had a designer collection? But it was such a well-made shirt, and crisp and sharp. It ironed well. It's 100% cotton. The tuxedo shirt you see here had the cufflink sleeves, and it just went so well with the base shirt. So I wanted you to see how those sleeves turned out. I think that also adds to the style of the shirt and the crispness of it. I just love it all. And even the belt with the cuffs off the side, I kind of brought the belt over to one side. Um, I love that as well. I didn't try this with another kind of belt because I really like the white on white, but you can choose to do it however you like. And then this final frame is just going to show you how the sleeves come on and off. Um, and you can wear it as a sleeveless shirt. So that's an option as well. And then the sleeves go on very easily. I had no problems getting them on and off quickly for, maybe a hot summer day and I decide I don't want to wear the sleeves, I can pop them off. But again, really, really pleased with this. And as another option, I'm always loving to change things up. Take one sleeve off and just wear it with one sleeve. So hope you guys enjoy, and please remember to subscribe and click that bell. See you next time.